Thumbelina.
Once there was a lady, and she lived by herself. She always wanted a daughter since she was a little girl herself. One bright morning, she was watering the plants and crying, thinking if she had a little girl with whom she could play with. A fairy appeared in front of her.
"What happened, dear? Why are you crying?"
Said the fairy.
I have set my heart upon having little girl.
Said the lady.
Please, could you tell me where I can find one? I am helpless.
Said the lady.
"Oh, don't worry, that can be easily managed,"
Said the fairy. A fairy with her magical powers brought a seed in front of the lady.
"This is not an ordinary seed that grows in farms. This seed needs lots of love and warmth, and don't forget to give sunlight,"
Said the fairy. The lady thanks the fairy and became happy. She then planted the seed in the pot and kept it in front of the window for enough sunlight, and it quickly grew into a large flower which looked like a tulip. The lady nourished it with love and watered it each day. One day she softly kissed the flower, and as though by magic, the flower opened in full blossom. Inside sat a very graceful little maiden girl.
She is my child, my daughter. I will call her Thumbelina. She is not bigger than the size of my thumb. I am your mother. You are my child.
Said the lady. That flower gave her daughter whom she dreamed of. She had a walnut shell that served her like cradle, violet petals for her matters, and she pulled up a rose petals as her blanket. During the day, she played in the tulip petal boat floating on the plate. One night, when she lay fast asleep, a large frog hopped in through the window and saw a pretty little girl sleeping in her bed. The frog quickly took up the little girl and ran outside. There she and put Thumbelina on a water lily leaf in the middle of the pond.
"We have placed her on a leaf, so she will never be able to leave us now. She is so pretty, I will make her your bride,"
said the frog to her son. When Thumbelina woke up, she cried bitterly all alone. She didn't want to have the frog's horrible son for her husband. On the other hand, the mother of Thumbelina tried to find her in every corner of her house, but she couldn't find her. There in the pond fishes swam. They had seen the frog and her son. Also, they heard the conversation of them. They felt very sorry for Thumbelina and decided to help her. Meanwhile, the frog and her son were busy in making arrangements of wedding. The fishes gathered around the stem and nibbled it with their teeth. The leaf separated and Thumbelina started floating on the water. Then Thumbelina thanked the fishes happily and went far away from the frog and her son. After some time, Thumbelina saw the birds singing on the trees. As darkness grew, she wrapped herself with leaf and slept deeply. The next morning, she woke up at a place where the sun struck the water and it looked like the shining gold. When she was heading towards the end of the stream, the bug saw her and tried to help and save her. The bug took her far away from the stream to his house. When they reached the house of the bug, other bugs who lived there came to see the little girl. The bug who saved the girl wanted to marry her, as she was very pretty. The other bug said she has only 2 legs and 2 hands, and looked like a human being. Mr. Bug also agreed with them, so in anger, he finally left her deep in the woods all alone, and went back to his house. The winter began to fall, and the poor girl shivered with cold. She walked and walked for food and shelter, and came across a little cottage. She knocked at the door. Out came a field mouse who lived in that cottage.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Said the mouse.
I am lost in the woods and feeling very cold and hunger. Could you help me?
Said the girl.
I lived alone here. You can come in and share my food. You will feel warm here, but first tell me your name.
Said the mouse.
I am Thumbelina.
Said the girl. Then both of them get inside. The cottage was very warm and cozy. The mouse then shared the food to eat and warm bed to stay. The mouse was so fascinated by the little girl. She wanted her to stay here forever in the cottage.
Today is the weekend and we shall have a visitor once every week. My neighbor comes to see me.
Said the mouse. Soon the bell rang, and there appeared the mole. When the mole saw the little girl, he fell in love with her and decided to marry her. So he went to the mouse and said,
I shall give you all food to eat and nice shelter to live. Only if you get me married to this pretty girl.
The mouse couldn't say no to the mole and started preparations. Thumbelina didn't want to marry him, so she decided to run away. On the way, she came across the injured bird lying in the forest. She saw that the bird can't fly because of its bleeded foot, so she helped the bird carefully. The bird felt very nice. Meanwhile, the mouse and the mole approached her. When Thumbelina saw them, she told the whole story to the bird and started begging for help.
Please could you take me somewhere far from them? I don't want to get married with a mole,
said the little girl. The bird agreed and asked the girl to climb on its back quickly. The mole and the mouse were startled as they saw the girl flying away on the bird. The bird took her to the flowerland. There were different kinds of flowers and birds. The flowerland was very beautiful. The girl loved the birds singing and scent of the flowers. There, she enjoyed very much. There she also remembered her mother, how she grew her up with love and care. As he became sad for her mother and wanted to go back to home. But suddenly, there came a king of the land of the flower. When the king saw her, he fell in love with her and wanted to marry her. The girl here, remember, indeed, he is a different sort of husband from frog and bug.
only if you take me back to my mother, and there we three will live happily there,
said the girl. The king agreed and brought Thumbelina a present of roses and silver wings to fly. These were made her fly back to her home with handsome king after her marriage, and her mother was very happy to see her back.